And sadly, a lot of companies say our employees are our greatest asset, but they don't necessarily put the money behind that, right? So helping companies be able to figure out how to really stretch that dollar across all of the different media channels, how they tell the story, how they show up, and how they build their identity as a place to work from an employer brand perspective is really the core of what we do.
Now, let's kind of dig into that a little bit. So, obviously, we mentioned earlier that you worked for larger companies, larger corporations. So, how, firstly, does it working for that? Maybe they do have a little bit of a bigger budget than a smaller company, or as you said, the HR world doesn't get as big of a budget as the marketing department does. So, how is it working for those bigger corporations in marketing them for future employers?
You know, that I'll when I was at Dell, give you an example. When I was at Dell, I actually, one of the first things I did, and one of the things we advise our clients on that sit in the HR side, is to build that internal relationship with their marketing team, right? So if you can leverage other money that's already being spent, right, on advertising, and maybe ride the coattails a little bit. So, or get marketing to just help you build the business case, right, to help marketing fund what you need to do, because there's a dual benefit, right, to both sides actually benefit from it. But in having that conversation, we were actually talking about hiring in Japan, and I was talking about partnering with some of the campaigns that marketing was doing in campaigns. She's like, "Yeah, we've got a $6 million budget for that one campaign, and if you've got 2 million that you can just tack onto that, great." Like 2 million was my entire budget. Like so even in the larger, I mean, we were a global tech brand and hiring in over 70 countries, and that was my budget, right? So it was just even those large, big global organizations still have that same challenge. So it's just a matter of really helping them hone in and refine and optimize their strategy.
And then in that case, is there more challenges with smaller companies? Is there more benefits, maybe because they have more of that smaller homey feel that maybe would be easier to market? What are some of those challenges there or differences?
Some of the smaller companies have a little bit more of a cohesive budget across channels, right? And so you're not so siloed the way some of the bigger companies are. But there definitely is a minimum threshold for where it's worth our time and their time to be able to do it, to be able to effectively support clients, right? So generally, like, we're partnering with companies they're going to be spending about at least a minimum of about $50,000 to $100,000 a year on advertising. But there's other clients that aren't spending that, but they bring us in to come help build just out their recruitment messaging strategy, or their social recruiting strategy, or their brand identity, and so we can come in and actually still be that consultative and strategic arm, where, completely separate from the media buying piece. It's, it really just, a large part of our approach is looking at the talent attraction ecosystem and where clients need the most support. And so that we're not trying to sell a thing in a box, or trying to to help them craft the right strategy to help them show up and get in front of the right talent.
I think a lot of people, maybe the general public, think of marketing for a company as, okay, you're promoting the business, right? But I don't think a lot of people think about marketing for hiring, right? To implore or to get people who want to work for your company. So I guess in this day and age, what are some of those top things that you guys focus on to market or attract people to want to work at companies? Are there certain things you got to hit?
Yeah, and that's actually a really good question. One of the things that I speak a lot about is, it's not enough to be a great place to work. You have to be known as a great place to work, right?